All right, let's dive into this. You've brought some really interesting stuff of Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice.
Yeah.
Seems like you're trying to really get a grip on the plot, maybe for an exam coming up or just, a real fascination with this classic play. We've got summaries, act breakdowns, even some deep dives into the themes, and quite the collection. Our mission, if you will, in this deep dive is to pull out the main story engine, those aha moments, and figure out why this play still resonates with people centuries later, why we're even talking about it today. I'm going to focus on the key events, how they all fit together, and some of the big ideas Shakespeare's playing with. You mentioned wanting to get up to speed fast, but also really get it, so let's jump right into the heart of it all.
It's really cool how Shakespeare throws us right into this contrast, right off the bat, these two totally different worlds. Really sets up the tension for the whole play.
Yeah, for sure. So Act I drops us right in the middle of Venice, this busy, bustling center of trade and commerce. And we meet Antonio. He's a merchant, obviously, well-respected, but there's this sadness about him. We don't quite know why yet. Then we've got his friend, Bassanio, this young nobleman, bit of a spender, blew through his inheritance, classic story. And now he needs, let me see, 3,000 ducats to woo Portia, this wealthy, bright heiress over in Belmont. But Antonio's cash is all tied up in his ship, so he's got to get a loan, and that's where Shylock comes in, the Jewish moneylender.
And you see right away how Shakespeare puts this, cutthroat world of money and deals next to this almost fairy tale idea of love and courtship over in Belmont. It's like different rules, different values, right?
Totally. And right from the start, you feel this tension, this dislike between Antonio and Shylock. It's not just business. Antonio's been all over town condemning usury, lending money with interest, big no-no for Christians back then. And he lends money without interest himself, which obviously ticks Shylock off. But there's more, isn't there? It's like Antonio's been openly anti-Semitic, insults, even spitting on Shylock in the past.
Exactly. So it's deeper than just, oh, you charge interest, I don't. What else do you think is driving this bad blood based on these early scenes? You get the feeling Shylock isn't just reacting to a business proposal. There's this whole history, important to remember as things unfold.
Totally. So they strike this deal, this loan, but with a catch, a really creepy catch.
Yeah.
If Antonio doesn't pay back the 3,000 ducats within 3 months, Shylock gets to take a pound of his flesh from anywhere on his body. Pretty gruesome, right? Bassanio's freaking out, obviously. But Antonio, he's sure his ships will come in on time, so he agrees. Bam, you've got the central conflict and all these themes, friendship, money, prejudice, all laid out right there.
And Antonio's so sure, right. But we know, even back then, sea voyages, they're risky. It's like Shakespeare's giving us a little wink, like, hold on, folks, things might not go as planned.
Oh, yeah. Big-time dramatic irony. Okay, so then, scene change. We're whisked away to Belmont, Portia's estate. Total opposite busy Venice. It's all peaceful and beautiful, like a fairy tale. We meet Portia and her lady-in-waiting, Nerissa. Now, Portia's got her own problem. Her dad's will says she can't pick her husband. Nope, any guy who wants to marry her has to go through this crazy casket lottery.
And it's a total shift, right? We go from the hard realities of business and debt to this romantic challenge, almost a game, to win Portia's hand. Like Shakespeare saying, hey, there's more to life than just money.
For sure. So there are 3 caskets, gold, silver, and lead. Each one's got an inscription on it. Only one has Portia's picture inside. And we see Portia and Nerissa talking about the guys who already tried and failed. It's funny. But also you see how smart Portia is. None of these guys are really for her. So the inscriptions, they're important. Gold says, who chooseth me shall gain what many men desire. Silver says, who chooseth me shall get as much as he deserves. And lead says, who chooseth me must give and hazard all he hath. All about appearances versus reality, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's like a test, right? Are you focused on the shiny stuff, what you think you deserve, or are you willing to risk it all for something real?
Right. Okay. Act 2, things start heating up in Venice. We meet Lancelot Gobbo, Shylock's servant. He's like, I'm out of here. Shylock's too harsh. So he goes to work for Bassanio. Then there's Shylock's daughter, Jessica, not happy at home at all. She's cooking up a plan to run off with Lorenzo, one of Antonio Bassanio's friends, and a Christian.
Adds a whole other layer, right? Family drama, rebellion, and again, that tension between Shylock and the Christians just keeps building.
Totally. So Jessica makes her move to this masked ball, disguises herself as a boy, escapes with Lorenzo. Oh, and she takes a bunch of Shylock's gold and jewels with her. Shylock finds out. He's furious, grieving for his daughter and his money. A really powerful scene, all about betrayal, family ties. It's a lot.
And it's interesting, right, how Shakespeare shows Shylock's grief. He seems just as upset about the money as losing his daughter. Makes you think about his character, what's really driving him.
Yeah. definitely adds to the complexity. And then on top of all that, word starts spreading that one of Antonio's ships has gone down. Uh-oh.
Hmm.
Repaying that loan isn't looking so sure now. Shylock's already mad about Jessica and the stolen loot, so this news about Antonio, well, it just pours fuel on the fire.
Mm.
And Jessica, she converts to Christianity as part of this whole running away thing. Big statement, right? Rejecting her Jewish identity, her father's world.
Huge symbolic move. She's fully embracing the Christian world, leaving her father's traditions behind. You can see how that would just push them further apart, add to Shylock's resentment.
Absolutely. Okay, over in Belmont, it's still all about the caskets. Prince of Morocco steps up first, picks the gold one, figures Portia must be behind the most expensive, right?
Mm.
Wrong. Opens it up, and there's a skull inside. Then Prince of Aragon takes a shot, goes for silver, thinks he deserves Portia based on, well, being Prince Aragon, I guess. Nope. Finds a picture of a fool.
And it's like a lesson, isn't it? You can't judge by appearances, can't just waltz in expecting to get what you want because you think you're so great. They totally miss the point, don't really see Portia for who she is.
Not at all. And just as Aragon leaves, we hear Bassanio's on his way.
Mhm.
Portia's so excited, remembers meeting him before, and you get the feeling she's hoping he's the one.
Yeah, it's romantic, right? Like a real connection beyond this whole casket game. You're rooting for them a little bit.
Totally. Okay, Act 3, Venice. Things are going from bad to worse. News comes in. More of Antonio's ships are lost, like a lot of them. His chances of paying back Shylock are shrinking fast. And Shylock, man, he's consumed with rage over Jessica, the money, everything. He's openly hateful towards Christians now, and he is not letting go of that pound of flesh.
Things get real intense here. It's not just about the money anymore. It's this deep need for revenge that's taking over.
Yeah. And in this act, we get Shylock's famous speech, right? Hath not a Jew eyes. That one. He's defending his humanity, talking about how he feels the same things as any Christian is powerful, makes you see him as more than just this greedy villain. But even with this plea, Antonio gets arrested because Shylock insists. Friends try to reason with Shylock, but nothing doing. Antonio's life is in serious danger now. And the fact that Shylock's pushing this, even though he might lose more money, it shows you revenge is all that matters to him now.
That speech, it's like the heart of the play in a way.
Yeah.
Forces you to think about Shylock, the prejudice he's faced, the pain he's carrying. Not simple at all.
No, not at all. But then, back to Belmont. Completely different vibe. Bassanio's there, ready for the casket challenge, and he doesn't just pick randomly. Maybe it's a hunch, maybe Portia's giving him subtle hints, but he goes for the lead casket, the one that says, given hazard all he hath. And boom, there's Portia's portrait.
It's like he gets it, you know? True love, it's about taking risks, not being afraid to lose it all. Not like those other guys.
Exactly. So they profess their love. It's all very sweet. And then Graciano, he proposes to Nerissa on the spot. They're getting hitched too. It's a happy moment. Portia gives Bassanio a ring, makes him promise never to lose it, ever. Then Lorenzo and Jessica show up, adding to the celebration.
Classic comedy stuff, right? Lightening the mood after all that drama invests makes you think everything's going to be all right.
You'd think so. But then, oh boy, a letter arrives. Bad news. All of Antonio's remaining ships are gone. He's bankrupt. And Shylock's not backing down. He wants that pound of flesh. Bassanio and Gratiano know they gotta get back to Venice. Fast. Portia gives them money to try and save Antonio, but she's not just gonna sit around. She cooks up this plan with Nerissa's help. They're gonna disguise themselves as men, sneak off to Venice and intervene, legally. Shows you how these two storylines, Venice and Belmont, they're totally tied together. And Portia in a man's disguise, that's a big deal. She's breaking boundaries, stepping into this world of law that was all men back then.
Yeah, that's Portia for you. Smart, brave, taking charge. She's not letting the rules of society stop her.
Exactly. All right, Act 4. This is it, the big showdown. We're in a courtroom in Venice. The Duke's in charge. Antonio's on trial. Shylock is there, demanding his pound of flesh, no compromise. Bassanio offers him 6,000 ducats, double the loan, but Shylock says no. He's not budging.
Justice versus revenge, right? That's the core of this scene. Shylock doesn't care about the money anymore. It's about something much bigger, much darker.
Yeah, totally. And just when it seems like Antonio's doomed, in walks Portia, dressed as a man, this young lawyer named Balthazar, sent by this famous legal expert, Valario. The Duke welcomes him, and Portia gives this amazing speech about mercy, begging Shylock to show some compassion. It's one of the most famous speeches ever, right? But Shylock, he's stubborn. He wants the law, the letter of the law, no exceptions.
That mercy speech, man, it's so powerful. It's about rising above strict rules, being humane. But then you see how Portia acts afterwards, and it makes you think, is she really all about mercy?
It's complicated. So first, Portia says, okay, the bond, it's legal. Seems like Antonio's out of luck. But then she finds this tiny detail, this loophole. The bond says a pound of flesh, but it doesn't say anything about blood. So Shylock can take his pound of flesh, but he can't spill a drop of Antonio's blood. Impossible, obviously. The tables have turned.
Yeah, that's Portia, the lawyer, right. Using the law, Shylock's own weapon, against him. Clever, but also kind of ruthless.
For sure. And she keeps going. Portia brings up this Venetian law. Says, anyone who's not a citizen, if they try to harm a citizen, directly or indirectly, they forfeit their stuff and their lives at the mercy of the Duke. Shylock's Jewish, not a citizen, so boom, he loses everything, half to the state, half to Antonio. The Duke could even take his life, but he shows mercy, spares Shylock. Then Antonio, he says he'll give up his share of the money, but on two conditions. Shylock has to convert to Christianity and leave all his remaining money to Jessica and Lorenzo when he dies. Shylock, he's defeated, he has to accept. It's brutal.
Shylock loses it all. And that forced conversion, man, it's tough to swallow. It makes you question the whole idea of justice, how different groups were treated back then.
Big questions, for sure. And then one last twist. Portia, still as Balthazar, asks for the ring she gave Bassanio's payment. Bassanio hesitates, he swore he'd never take it off, but Antonio's like, dude, just give it to her. So he does. And then Nerissa, she was disguised as Balthazar's clerk, does the same thing to Graciano, gets his ring back. Act 4, it's like a roller coaster, all this drama, these big themes of justice, mercy. It's a lot to process. And Shylock, he's the big loser, but you can't help but feel for him, after all the prejudice he's faced. And Portia, she talks about mercy, but then she's so strict with the law and forces this conversion on Shylock. It's not black and white, right?
Totally. It's like she saves the day, but her methods and what happens to Shylock, it leaves you with this uneasy feeling that The Merchant of Venice, it's not just a happy comedy. There's a lot more going on.
So much more. Okay, last act, Act V, we're back in Belmont. Things are calmer now. Yeah. Portia and Nerissa are back. No more disguises. Bassanio and Graciano show up, and their wives are like, where are our rings? They're pretending to be mad. It's all playful.
Yeah, it's lighthearted now, wrapping up the love stories. A little bit of fun after all that intensity.
Exactly. And the guys, they're totally confused. They have no idea. They gave the rings to their own wives.
Yeah.
So the women come clean, show the rings, explain how they saved Antonio. Everyone's laughing. It's a happy reunion. And then, even better, Portia tells Antonio that 3 of his ships, they made it back. He's rich again. Nerissa gives Lorenzo and Jessica a deed. They inherit all of Shylock's money when he dies.
It's like everything's wrapped up in a neat little bow, right? Antonio's ship's coming back, the inheritance for Lorenzo and Jessica, all the loose ends are tied up.
Except, well, as we said, there's still Shylock, right? We don't know what happens to him after this. Everyone else is happy getting married, but his story, it feels kind of tragic. Makes you wonder if Merchant of Venice is really a comedy after all.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Shylock's fate, it's this big question mark hanging over the play. That's why some people call it a problem play. Got these happy endings, but then there's this darkness, this unresolved issue that just sticks with you.
Totally makes you think.
Mm-hmm.
So taking it all in, this deep dive into Merchant of Venice, it's a web of stories all connected. We saw how a simple need for money set off this whole chain reaction, love, hate, revenge, even courtroom drama. And it raises these huge questions about justice, how societies treat people who are different, what makes a real relationship. It's a lot to chew on.
Right. Like, think about Portia. Was she really merciful? Or was she just really good at using the law to get what she wanted? And Shylock, yeah, he wanted revenge, but can you blame him after all he went through? And what does it all say about how power works between different groups, especially back then? Big stuff.
For sure. This deep dive, it should give you a way better grasp on the plot, the twists and turns, and how it all ties into these big themes. It's not just an old story, it's like a window into the past, and it still makes us debate, argue, think hard about things. Maybe now you're curious about different ways to see Shylock or what Portia did. Was it right or wrong? There's always more to uncover, that's for sure. Thanks for sharing all this. It's been a really, really interesting deep dive.